Now to a WNBA story that's not so feel good. As you guys know, we kind of talked about it off camera. Dearica Hamby is suing not only the Las Vegas Aces, but also the WNBA as a whole because she feels like she was discriminated against once she disclosed in 2023 that she was pregnant, she was having a baby, right? So she says, and looking at the lawsuit, that once she disclosed to the Aces that she was pregnant, everything started to change. Some of the benefits that they had promised to provide for her, all of a sudden weren't being taken care of. Then a little time after that, she found out that she was going to be traded. And she feels like all of this was basically because she was pregnant, and Becky Hammon and the Las Vegas Aces didn't feel like she would be ready to go that season. Come to find out, she actually did play that season. So she had a baby, but she was still able to get herself back in shape, and she played. So a lot of that nonsense ended up being for nothing.
Right.
K Walk, what do you think about this lawsuit? Is this a bad look for the league as a whole? Just give me your thoughts on this all in all.
Yeah, anytime you get a lawsuit against, a league, especially a league like the WNBA, who's starting to, in my opinion, hit their stride and they're starting to, to ramp up as far as, expanding, getting the money that they need and putting out all of the players in a financial situation where, they don't have to take off-season jobs and go overseas and things of that nature to make extra money. Anytime you hear something like this, at this point, you kind of like say, why now? But maybe it's because of the money that they're generating. I don't know. But Hamby, I don't know if she has a legitimate argument here. And please, again, I don't want to sound insensitive by any stretch of the imagination. But when you're traded, you're traded for a reason, and it could be certain things. If she was traded for this particular reason, then you have to ask Becky Hammon, was it for this reason? She's probably going to say no. That definitely it wasn't the case. But coincidence? I'm not a guy. I'm not a fan of coincidences, man. Coincidences. I don't believe in them. I just don't believe in coincidences by any stretch. So I think she has a legitimate gripe here if you look at it. But like you mentioned, Jay, she did end up playing playing that season. And when you're a WNBA player, it's hard to plan a pregnancy because you just don't have enough time. Because there's not enough layoff. There's not a 9-month layoff. You don't have no league has a 9-month layoff. So it's kind of hard to do that. So yeah, I think this is all going to get worked out. I did see an interview, as I mentioned, off air that Good Morning America did speak with the commissioner of the WNBA, and the way she laid it out. What she has to do, of course, but the way she laid it out, there's so many benefits there for any player that's going to plan a pregnancy, whether it be prenatal care, things of that nature, the time off, the necessary time off that you need, whatever you need. If you go to the hospital, there's going to be separate rooms, the appropriate rooms and things of that nature set up. So what they have right now, as far as the WNBA, the way they have everything structured, it kind of makes you want to have a baby if you're a female, NBA player, because it's everything set up. But with this lawsuit, I think it's ultimately, it's one of those lawsuits that you're not going to see it going anywhere. It's going to be something that's going to be settled out of court. I think a settlement is going to be there nonetheless, because I think it is warranted if this is the case, because Becky Hammon did get suspended, I believe, 2 or 3 games that year, for this, when it was initially brought up. So I think it'll be settled out of court. We're not going to hear the disclosure of the amount and things of that nature, but I think it'll be settled, and we'll move on and continue to root for the WNBA as we've been doing up to this point.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say before I come to Britt. Like, there's something there, because when Dearica Hamby brought this up to the league, they did their own investigation, and they said, all right, we're going to suspend Becky Hammon for a couple of games. They also lost some draft picks because they were providing impermissible benefits that were outside of what the league allows. So there's definitely something there. But
Okay.
Britt, like from a woman's perspective, like I want to get your thoughts on this because heck, my wife has had 4 kids, and you know, at some point when I miss a couple days of work and I'm right back, it's not something that as a man, K-Walk, we really have to concern ourselves with. We take a few days, everybody's good. All right, I'm going back to work, right? So, Britt, from a woman's perspective, just give me your thoughts on this. If everything that that Dearica Hamby is alleging is true, what kind of look do you think this is for the Aces and for Becky Hammon as a head coach?
I don't think it's a good look for Becky Hammon at all. I mean, first of all, you're a fellow woman. That's first and foremost. So you should be more understanding of the situation. Second of all, if I can recall, the WNBA went through this years ago, and that's where a lot of the rules ended up changing to be more accommodating to these players for when they are pregnant. They went through a lot of this when the WNBA basically first started. And Becky, I'm just a little disappointed, to be honest, in Becky Hammon. Like I really am disappointed. The fact that this woman, this young lady who wants to have a family, because I don't think anything should derail anybody, man or woman, from having a child. Men can't physically have children, but you know, with his significant other, from having a child, like nothing should come in between that. And then you shouldn't be get ready to lose your job just because you want to have a child. Like, come on, we kind of meant here to procreate. Like that's one of our main means of being here, first and foremost. But I'm really upset because I looked at Becky Hammon. I actually had a lot of respect for her, and because of this, it's caused me to lose a lot. I lost a lot of respect for her because of this. I just think that she told you, you know, I'm pregnant. First and foremost, she came to you. She said, I'm pregnant. She said, I'll be ready prior to the WNBA season. To me, that should have been enough. That should have been more than enough. You said, okay, as a woman supporting another woman, get yourself together. If you need anything, I'm with you, such and so forth. Instead, you tell her, we're going to trade you or we're going to do such and such because you're like, how you want to punish somebody because they having a kid? Like, come on. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, especially coming from another woman. And I think that's the point. That's the part that's, I'm trying to be cool. That's the part that's pissing me off though. Like it's coming from another woman. Like that makes no sense to me. You understand what women have to go through as is outside of the WNBA and other situations throughout society, what we continue to fight for, what we're currently fighting for right now, as far as having our own choice and a lot of different things. And then this goes on. Like, what are we doing? It's like, let's be real. What are we doing? So I'm on Dearica's side. So I hope, and I do agree with you, K-Walk. I do think it's going to get settled out of court. I think they're going to announce it. I just feel like there's no way this is huge league, WNBA. People, they're going to announce it. Now, will they have her sign NDAs saying she can't discuss it? I don't know. Now, that's a whole other conversation, right? Where she can't interview. That's a whole nother conversation, which again, I think that also should not be allowed. Allow her to say what she went through. Maybe it could help somebody else somewhere else, somewhere else. But like, come on now, like this got to stop. It's ridiculous, and the fact that it came from a woman that did this to another woman, I think that's what pisses me off the most.
And another thing, real quick, Jay, I'm sorry, is that when you look at the situations, because Becky Hammon does have 2 children, she has 2 sons, but she adopted those children. She didn't actually have them, so she hasn't been in Hamby's shoes, if you will, because of the fact of the matter is she adopted. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the fact of the matter is it doesn't require you to take away, to require you to be away from your craft, your job, or whatever the case may be. You adopted, so you didn't go through the physical aspect of actually having the children. Sports tea. Okay, I can argue with you here, but nonetheless, but nonetheless, I don't think she can put herself in Hamby's shoes there. So it's kind of an insensitive thing there. She can call herself a mother, but at the same time, she can't, be considered herself a mother like a Hamby, because of the fact of the matter, she's actually birthed those children, and it's kind of sounds like it's an insensitive thing to me, in my opinion.
But you know what, Kayla, regardless of whether you adopted, whether you had a surrogate, whether you birthed a child, you're still a woman. And you should understand from a woman's perspective, to me, that's the first and foremost. This is a woman dealing with another woman. Like we go through a lot of the similar things. Granted, race is a whole nother situation. But just from just being a woman and the fact that we both had the ability to birth children, whether we choose to or not, you should still be more understanding, more sympathetic to that aspect of it, and to understand that as women, what we go through and that we have to come together. Like, you made us far apart. Like, you literally Becky tried to pull us apart more than us coming together. And in those moments, like, we need each other in these moments. So that's where I'm disappointed in Becky Hammon with, and that's what pisses me off at the most.
What Brittany said.
And we should say, just for the record, obviously Becky Hammon denies all of this, right? Her statement was, we traded her for basketball reasons. It had nothing to do with the pregnancy, but it just seems right. It just seems a little too coincidental, right? Like, Hamby said they had promised her childcare, that they were going to pay for her childcare. Once they found out she was pregnant, all of a sudden the money for that disappeared. They promised her housing for her family. Once they found out she was pregnant, all of a sudden her family had to get out of the housing that they were providing. So seems all a little too coincidental for me. Said they lost respect for Aces players, like they don't know what's going on. I mean, I think that's a fair point too. And that's also, like, I don't even think the league shouldn't necessarily escape this either, because Dearica Hamby went to the league, and they gave Becky Hammon a little slap on the wrist. They suspended her for 2 games. But I think they really had an opportunity to really make a statement and set an example and say, hey, we can't treat our players like this. Skylar Diggins experienced something similar in Phoenix, where she felt like they put her on the outside looking in when she was pregnant. So this is something that has happened at least twice, or at least players have alleged that this has happened at least twice. I think the league has got to get a hold of this thing as well.
And if you guys missed it, watch the Good Morning America interview with the commissioner.
Sure enough, Sure enough, Mikey. I was holding myself back.
But check that out if you missed that, the interview with Robin Roberts, and that's the first thing that came out, was everything, that all of the amenities, I mean, that they said they have on the table, they have accessible to these players now. So that has a lot to say. It has a lot to go. I mean, and to go with what you were just talking about, Jay. They didn't give them what they promised.
Let me ask you guys this, and it kind of relates to what Sports T just said. Do you think, because we know how these leagues operate, these are businesses, right? And we know when push comes to shove, like when you go against them, and she's filing suit not only against the Aces but against the WNBA as a whole. Do you think there's a chance that maybe she'll get some pushback? Do you think maybe there's a chance that this lawsuit could actually hurt her in the long run, because now the league's going to say, okay, one of our own are suing us? Do you think there could be any negative backlash toward Dearica Hamby because of this, Britt?
Absolutely. I mean, look, as much as I would love to say no, not at all, I'm not naive to the situation. There's always going to be people that's going to come out and say, well, you play basketball, you shouldn't be pregnant, yada 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 yada. Pure bull crap. She's going to get the backlash. Look at people like Colin Kaepernick and other people who have stood up for a right cause, but it went against them in a different way. So this is a possibility that she's going to sue him, and she might just win the lawsuit. I know people, like Sports T just said, maybe she doesn't have enough money to fight against, somebody as big as the WNBA and the NBA, because they do get a lot of their funds from the NBA as well. But also, lawyers don't take on cases that they don't think they can win.
Right.
They feel like they have a big chance here. With the discrimination aspect of it. But I do think it might impact her career, and she has to be understanding of it. But although it might impact her career, it may also change things for the future. We just don't know. So
yeah,
it's unfortunately it's a kind of double-edged sword.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And she does have the WNBA union behind her. I know they are on her side, helping her file this lawsuit, the whole thing. So she does have a union that is backing her up with this. But K-Walk, what do you think? Backlash, potential blackballed, all those kind of things on the table?
Yeah, absolutely. Jay and Britt hit it right on the head, because I was going to use that same example. The Colin Kaepernick example is that, when you speak out and things of that nature, you're going to get blackballed no matter how, talented you are, no matter how much you can, you can bring to the table for any respective team out there. So I agree 100% with everything that Brittany said in this case. Not just because she's a woman, because she knows a little bit more better about this than I do. But yeah, I think she will be blackballed. I think she will be looked, side-eyed and things of that nature. But I also think that, she can use this into her and, turn this into a game for herself, maybe a memoir, interviews, limited series, the list goes on and on. There's so many things, Lifetime movies, the list goes on and on, in regards. But you have to be careful, because like Brittany mentioned earlier, NDAs, how much can you, is there going to be an NDA that she has to sign? And, how much can you speak about it as well? But I definitely think this is something, it's kind of like The Godfather, is that, you never go against the family. You never go against the family. So that's kind of like, what that is, so she got to be careful. But I think she's on the verge of being blackballed without question.
Yeah. And just for the record, like, people that don't know, we're not talking about some scrub here or some bench player or some role player. Dearica Hamby is the leading scorer on the Sparks, the leading rebounder. So we're talking about a legitimate. She was in the Olympics on the 3-on-3. Well, she was on the Olympics in the 3-on-3 team. So this is a legitimate WNBA player we're talking about. We're not talking about someone. So it's going to be.
I don't know if I'm bragging about that one. Was that the team that won the bronze?
They did win bronze. They did win bronze. So maybe that's not the best thing.
That's not the best one.
I mean, she can absolutely play. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. But good stuff there, guys. That was really good. I think it was Angela Davis who said something along the lines of, some of the sisters are pigs. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one, but
this one, there could be negative backlash, but it's also breaking the law to retaliate because someone sued over discrimination. I agree. I absolutely agree. Oh, I think this is Dom from Sports Unit. That's my girl, by the way. Please go subscribe to her as well.
What is that? Can I have that again?
She goes in Dominique Sports T. But I agree with you. But we also know how these big daggone leagues are. They will figure out a way. They will figure out a way to make it seem like it's something else. In reality,
that's right.
It's really not. Prime example: Colin Kaepernick. We know he got blackballed and discriminated against. But unfortunately, he can't play. It's like, what do we do?
And I just want to make it a note that a lot of people are saying the 49ers blackballed him. 49ers didn't blackball him. He had an player option this last year. He opted out of that. I just want to make sure I know that. I'm tired of hearing about that.
I think he also did he also get a settlement too?
He did.
We never found out what it was, or did we find out what it was? So he got some money, but you're right, Britt. Like, if they don't want you in their league, they can figure out a way for you not to be in the league, for sure.
Right. Without breaking the law.
I agree with Sports Team. Without getting caught. Do it legally, but they'll figure a way out. They say, she can't play anymore. She's not good. We're going in a different direction. Whatever the case may be. If they don't want you, they'll figure it out.
Okay, well, you're right by that. They still gonna break it. They just not gonna get caught. That is right.
That's exactly right. All right, y'all.